Alright, good afternoon everyone. Welcome back. This is suspiciously similar to my previous video because it's about 5 seconds later in filming time. But I'm going to take some time today to document my process on frame protecting the Merckx frame. So I did a lot of research. There's a lot of frame protecting products out there, as well as a lot of people who say, oh, don't even bother. You know, this bike was from California, so there's absolutely no rust on it right now, which is incredible. But there are some decent sized chips, and I want to make sure that it stays that way as I move around the country. I don't plan to ride this bike a lot in bad weather, but just a protection, since Merckx frames are fairly expensive, and I'd like to keep it for a long time. So the material, or the product I end up going with is WD-40 corrosion inhibitor. All of the products are pretty good. Really, you have like two main categories of products. You've got like a cosmoline based product like Frame Saver, T9, other kind of things like that. The Amsoil makes a product, HDMP I think is what it's called. But I watched someone take some bare bike tubing material, chromo, mild steel, just a few varieties, and then spray them with about 6 different of these products, and then periodically mist them in salt water for a couple weeks. And the WD-40 product was one of the better ones, and so it's also readily available at your local Home Depot or Lowe's, so that's what I went with. So today I'll be documenting the process of me plugging up the bike and getting the frame saver in there. But first I gotta take the bike down, so we'll be right back once the bike is completely apart. Alright, now I've got the frame stripped down. I pulled the seat tube, which was pretty sticky. I think I need to get some extra grease in there next time, but pulled the fork and the headset cartridges, and now we're ready to start. So I'm going to start by getting some of the material into the main tubes here. You can see inside the bottom bracket shell. There's a piece of paper towel, 1 second. You can see inside the bottom bracket shell. So I'm going to get a bunch of stuff in each of those holes. I'm going to plug the bottom of the seat tube first, but get lots of material going down those holes, and then I'm going to plug up the bottom bracket with paper towels and move on. So let's get into that. Alright, let's get some of this stuff in here. You can see that this one, see if I can get some light in there, is only got a very small hole into the headset, so I'm not too worried about that. And the same thing with these, they have some very small vent holes in the lower or in the seat stays, but since the chain stays are chrome, they've been plugged, so I don't have to worry about any escaping from here. There we go, stuff to do with the camera. Alright, and then down the main pipe here. Flip it over and get on to the next part. And the top tube as well. This is the trickier part, but I'm gonna try and get some into these welding vent holes. It's actually kind of a surprise that these are still here, because builders in this era on nice bikes would actually plug these with braze once they were done welding to help remove any source of air to get in and create a low humidity environment, and B, because they thought it looked more professional. So, but these ones exist still, so I'm going to get a little in there. It's probably going to make a mess, but let's see. Yep, making a mess. But I'll be right back with you guys once I'm done with that. Alright, those are done as best as I was going to get them, but they're mostly sealed, so I'm not super worried about that anyway. But as far as the fork, you can see what I was talking about earlier. See, they put braze in these vent holes, so the fork tubes themselves are completely sealed. I checked in here, they're brazed into this cap, so absolutely no worries about the tubes themselves, but the steer is open, and if you notice, it's actually open all the way through. So this bottom part is continuously exposed. So I'm going to give this a really good douse. Let's see if I can get a light. Nah, it's just going to be too dark. But give this a really good blast, and then I'll be right back. All right, now that this is done, everywhere that I've found, it recommends you plug all the holes now with paper towels and just kind of gently invert and spin it around for a little while and let all the fluid that's floating around in there just kind of coat everything. So I'm going to do that with the bike frame as well, which will be impossible to do while I hold the phone, so I'll go off camera for that. But basically just agitate everything around some more and give it a good shake, and then we'll just leave it to dry for a little bit, and then probably in a couple hours I'll pull the paper towels out. So I'll come back in a second with final thoughts. Alright, so we've basically got everything good to go now. The frame is completely coated. I plugged it as best as I can, shook it around as best as I can. It's always tough to tell how good of a job you do on this sort of a thing. It's all internal, and as long as the bike's put together correctly, there shouldn't be too much risk of any water getting into the frame anyway, and I don't plan to ride this thing in torrential downpours, so that's really, you know, it's hopefully just mostly a preventative measure. But I'm going to let it dry for today. In a few hours I'll pull the paper towels and make sure that there's no extra like pooled in the bottom, and then leave it to dry overnight. And then tomorrow, hopefully, I will be back with, well, not tomorrow for you guys, but tomorrow for me, be back with my attempts to do some touch-up paint on this puppy so I can start getting the initial assembly. Have a great day, and see you in the next one.